Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be talking about SocialEyes week 3, but first I feel like I need to explain slightly and apologise for having been away for a little while. So a lot has been going on in my world and it has meant that I haven't been able to film the weekly updates as I wanted, but I am catching up with the backlog now. I've still been attending SocialEyes and enjoying it, so I will be reflecting on that. I'm also in a different place, so I'm not in my flat at present, so sorry that the background's a bit different and potentially slightly bright. Yeah, it's a bit difficult and I can't really change that, so thank you for bearing with me. So back to SocialEyes week 3. We did personal space. Now, personal space is just the space surrounding a person, really, and there are one of two ways this can go. Some people get very close and some people want to be very far away. It's kind of trying to find that mid-ground. For me, I don't really like people getting too close, especially don't like people touching me. Even people I know sometimes, but at other times maybe I get too close when I'm not concentrating, especially at the moment. I really struggle with the 2-meter distance if I'm moving or talking or thinking. I guess you could argue you think all the time, but if I'm thinking in depth, so if I'm going along with somebody and we are talking, then I might keep getting closer to them. Not purposely, it's just hard to hold both things at once, make a conversation, think about what's going on, process all the external stuff, and try and stay 2 meters away. Very tricky. Plus 2 meters isn't really a natural distance. A meter, I think I can manage a bit better, as that's probably the usual gap. But 2, yeah, that just seems counterintuitive to me. So we learnt about 3 zones in terms of personal space. You've got the intimate zone, which is 1/2 meter, and those people could be like your family or your partner or your pet. Pet wasn't mentioned, but I'm going to sneak pet in there. And in fact, there's probably no distance between you and your pet because you can just hug them, but we'll put them in the intimate zone. The next zone is the personal zone, and it's 1.2 meters, which is very precise, and I do like precise. However, my directional skills and spatial awareness are so poor that I couldn't tell you what 1.2 meters is, but I can just about manage a meter, I think. And in the personal zone, that seems to be the sort of general one, the one for the most part. If you're having a conversation with someone, your lecturer, your friend, that seems to be the 1.2 meters. So the one to hold and to remember is personal zone. And then you've got the social zone, and that can be up to 3 meters. So having a bigger conversation, if you're outside in public, then 3 meters is probably where to be standing away from people. So like if you're waiting at the bus or whatever you might be doing in your life, 3 meters is the social zone. And of course, now we have to sneak COVID in there. The COVID zone, as I mentioned, is 2 meters. So this also still stands for when you're sitting down, like on a chair in the waiting room. Actually, potentially a bit easier nowadays because they are marked and blocked off. So yeah, social distancing has been good for a few things. It shows you where to stand, where to sit, less things to think about and worry about. And as I saw on Facebook the other day, somebody put, "I'm quite glad it's now rightfully a crime to sit next to me on the bus." I feel that. I don't really use the bus, but if I did, yeah, I wouldn't want to sit next to anyone probably. So yeah, one of the challenges that came up was where to sit, and that's kind of been resolved, but generally maybe it's good to like leave a chair between you and a person. Unless you really can't, then that's probably a good idea. sometimes awareness can shift, so I might notice if someone's too close or too far from me, but I'm not always very good at noticing if I'm doing that to someone else. I think that's about practice and being mindful and having this insight now that yes, sometimes I do get too close or sometimes I'm too far away. Just having that knowledge is quite good. If people do get too close to you, it can be quite intimidating. It can also be a bit stressful, really, because you might feel a bit overwhelmed, you might panic, you might not know what to do about it. It's also quite intrusive, and I don't know about other people, but I don't particularly like to smell others unless they smell nice. Actually, even if they don't, I don't want links in my space. Please step away. So maybe don't get too close, because then everyone can smell you. Not necessarily if you smell bad, even if you think you smell good. Perfumes are very individual, so I'd rather not be able to smell you if possible. If you have a good distance, it's less intense for you and for the other person, and people tend to maybe stay around a bit longer to have that conversation with you because it's more appropriate. They're seeing you as more approachable, and that's always good. Crossing over. And if you're too far away, someone might not be able to hear you. You might be ignored because they don't know you're trying to talk to them. And it's also potentially harder to read body language, especially facial expressions, if you can't really see the other person. Yeah. And if you do get too close or you're too far away, you might have these visual clues. So people will maybe be like, that means too close, or that might mean too far away. A good way to put some distance between you and another person is to step back but keep one of your feet out or forward, because then they can't come closer to you. And that's especially good for like those marketing people that just jump on you in the street. Well, they don't literally jump on you. I hope no one's ever jumped on anybody in the street. Anyway, the people, when they come up to you and they try and sell you things, and you can just put your hand out, put your foot out, just to stop them getting close to you. We also learned that a good technique to keep people, I suppose, away is to wear a backpack, because that way they can't get so close to the back of you, or to have something in front of you, almost like a guard, whether it's your coat. And in terms of backpacks, if you pack them with reasonably heavy things, that's also very grounding, very regulating. So, it's that bird quote, isn't it? You've hit two birds with a stone, you've killed them. Well, actually, that's not a very nice quote. You've solved two problems with one thing. And yeah, we like a quick fix. We like solving multiple things with one solution. So this one was a bit shorter, and I think that's because there's potentially less to say about personal space and the distance you hold, but having that awareness is really important, and it was a beneficial session because it's allowed me to think about how close I am to someone, and now I've got those rules, those markers. And of course there are always times when it's okay to break those things, like you can't give someone CPR from 3 meters away. I'm not sure I could give someone CPR anyway, but that was an example. And yeah, if someone is upset and you're trying to comfort them, maybe get a bit closer so they can feeling your warmth is a bit creepy, but so they can see that there's a person there for them, there's human contact. Again, COVID has changed things slightly, so we might not be getting close to people for a while, unless we all get vaccinated and it scuttles off. But I don't see that happening very quickly. However, yeah, maybe always be mindful of when people need a human and when they don't. That's key here, is do what's right for you.